everybody out there in YouTube. We are the Middle-Aged Guys. In this particular video, we are finally going to jump into Young Justice Season number 2, starting episode number 1, Happy New Year. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump into that. Let me get the introductions out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
Okay, this is our continuation of all the episodes of Young Justice, hopefully leading into Season 3, which is supposed to be coming out later on this year with DC's direct digital service. Unfortunately, just like everybody else in this particular video, I don't have any other information for that direct digital subscription service. Hopefully we'll hear something from the folks at Warner Brothers and DC sometime soon. Probably, you know what? Probably around Comic-Con, hopefully at the latest. We'll hear something, and then we can go ahead and jump into that. But just like with our previous reviews, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cover each episode with a short synopsis and 3 talking points. First one being what we liked about the episode. Second one, what we didn't like about the episode. Third one being what we picked up on the episode that acts as a reference or a setup for a future storyline or future episode that's coming down the pike. And consider this right now, spoiler warnings, I guess, but look, episode really is like almost 6 years old as it is. So yeah, there's been a lot of time to go ahead and pick up and watch these things. This is really us as fans who've gone back and we've seen these particular episodes, over 3, 4, 12, 24, 30 times, going out of our way and doing our reviews. All right. So with that all said, let me go ahead and talk about Young Justice Season 2, Episode number 1, Happy New Year, which originally aired out in April 28th, 2012. This particular episode starts out right where Season 1, Episode number 26, All Acquaintances, finishes up. Pretty much they're wrapping up. They spend the first few minutes wrapping up, hey, look, this is what we found. Missing 16 hours for these core members of the Justice League and everything else. And then after they remind everybody and they set the table that way, pretty much the next thing you know, there's a 5-year time skip. Okay? It opens up and we see the team facing off with Clayface. We have Superboy facing off with Clayface, Miss Martian, and then it looks like Robin. Also, who shows up a little bit later. After Robin and Superboy and Miss Martian go ahead and incapacitate Clayface, lo and behold, who shows up? Beast Boy and Blue Beetle. And also, let's see here, Bumblebee. They all show up, and it turns out that, hey, look, we have the team. There's still certain core members of the team there, and they're newer members and everything else. And this time they were able to go ahead and incapacitate Clayface when in a previous episode, I believe in episode number 3 or 4 of the first season, during the training exercise, they were completely taken out by Clayface. Mm-hmm. So, again, this is kind of like a good benchmark to compare. But I digress. All right. So, basically what happens is that during that particular time, they get a call from let's see here, a distress beacon that goes up to the Justice League Watchtower, all right, that says, hey, look, we've got a distress signal coming from the United Nations. Do you have anybody around? Robin says, I've got a team that's there that's like 20 minutes away. They can go ahead and they can get there. And turns out we see Lobo. He walks in. He's walking into the United Nations. He walks into General Sang's office, one of the generals from the Malaysian countries, and he goes ahead and he tells pretty much he's telling General Sang, he's like, I've got a bounty out for you. You're either coming with me, dead or alive. Okay. Enter Batgirl and Wonder Girl. They go ahead and they try to stop him. After being able to separate Wonder Girl and Batgirl away from General Sang for long enough, Lobo rips the General open pretty much with his bare hands, revealing that, hey, the General, who's everybody thought was a normal human, looks like it was actually an alien, a small little alien, called the Krolataean, inside of a mechanical body. Okay? He goes off, he disappears, and everybody is left worldwide to see that, hey, look, there are aliens literally infiltrating, key positions in politics and stuff like that. All right. At the Watchtower, they go ahead and they suss everything out. What is it? Jon Stewart is able to sit there and say, okay, I know the big guy, that's Lobo. He's like, he's really not that much of an issue. He comes and he goes. He usually has a job, then he leaves and doesn't do anything else, right? He's like, now the little guy, the little alien, that's Krolletean. That's an issue. He's like, because those guys always move around in packs, all right? So if there's one here, that means there's a lot of them here, all right? And it turns out that with the help of Adam Strange, he finds out that the Krolleteans have been stealing Zeta Tube, Zeta Ray technology, and they've been traveling all over the place. And he's been tracking this Zeta Tube activity all over the world. And he tells them, he's like, look, so if we're attaching the Zeta Tube Tube activity to these Krolleteans, the Krolleteans have bases all over the Earth. Okay, that means we've got a shitload of these aliens here. So what they do is that they make a plan to go ahead and simultaneously raid all of the different Krolletean headquarters and everything else. All right, 6 of them all around the world. Okay, during the time that they go ahead and they set all the assignments out, when Robin, who's now not Robin anymore, Dick Grayson, who's now Nightwing, still leader, who is now the leader of the team, he sits there and he signs Gamma Squad, which consists of Robin, Tim Drake Robin, Lagoon Boy, and Blue Beetle, to scout out the location in Louisiana to go ahead and raid that location, and if anything goes, disable the Zeta platforms, and then save any civilians that they might find. Right. Turns out that all of the other Zeta locations completely abandoned except for the one in Louisiana. All right, so the guys in Gamma Squad get the hottest assignment. They go through after having their covers blown. All right, and finding out that, oh, look, the Krolleteans are going to go ahead and leave the place, but not after they've set the place to go ahead and blow up in like 4 minutes. And they intend to sacrifice their playthings in the lower levels. Tim Drake goes ahead and he realizes, oh, that must be all of the abductees, because they didn't find anything at the other locations. So they go to the lower level, they free all the abductees, they escape out of there after the place blows up, okay? And in a very familiar view, all right, after escaping an underground location, okay, with these 3 young men and all these people held captive, right, and a captive, we have the Justice League and all the members of the team, coming out from the sky to go ahead and surround them and try to figure out what's going on and to clean up the mess. Which Dick Grayson sits there and goes, he's like, well, way to get your feet wet, Tim. So they go ahead and they come back to gather back to the cave of the Watchtower, and that's where they kind of leave off, where the second part of their plan is picking up, where they're going to have members of the team Zeta off to Rann in order to take care of the Krolleteans who are stealing the Zeta Tube technology from Rann. All right. I know there are a few details that I wasn't able to touch, but I don't want to go ahead and spend the length of an episode to do the synopsis. I think I've covered everything, right, guys?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So let's go ahead. Let's go into our actual bulk of our review. Let's touch on the first thing that we usually talk about. What did you see in this particular episode that you liked? Floor is open.
A 5-year jump. Damn. Okay. New heroes. New heroes are there. When you first saw it, it's like, okay, Clayface, Superboy, Miss Martian. Oh, she cut her hair. Oh, okay, fine. Oh, a Robin comes in. Oh, okay. Wait, he changed? Wait a minute. Is that Dick? Whoa, what's going on here? Beast Boy, Bumblebee, and Blue Beetle. And then you hear over the comms, Nightwing out. And then it says 5 years later, like, holy shit, what have we got ourselves into? Then you saw Lagoon Boy training with Nightwing. Heroes, new heroes, new heroes. Yes, yes, yes. Team expansion. I thoroughly love that. Gray Mouse, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of like the same thing that you just mentioned earlier. It was definitely an expansion to the team, and a mix with the new with the old as well, and a couple of the older characters apparently has joined the Justice League full force. So that I really like that. Yeah.
This particular episode right here, it opens up the second season pretty much, and it jumps full bore into it. All right, the way that they handled it was that, look, either they could sit down and they could take 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there to go ahead and introduce all of the new team members and to set the table for what's happened over the last 5 years, or they could just go ahead and hit the time skip. All right, have people pick up on, oh, okay, these are familiar faces. All right, these are people that I've seen before. Okay, and then with the new additions, have people sit there and give them an opportunity to figure out whether or not they like what's going on. Okay, this particular episode was really, really effective in not only continuing on what we left off with on the first season, but also then setting the table where everything was completely wide open as far as what fans would be considering. Okay, so what am I dealing with now? Okay, with all of the new characters and everything else. And, there are changes to a lot of the established characters. Dick Grayson is no longer Robin. He's Nightwing. All right. Superboy is still Superboy, but wait a minute. He's, Miss Martian cut her hair, and she's now a hard-ass Miss Martian. Okay, like literally commanding officer, barking, instructions out to people. Miss Martian, right? And she's no longer with Superboy. She's now canoodling up to with Lagoon Boy. What the hell happened here?
What happened?
Yeah, there is, as far as, okay, we are not going to go ahead and wipe the slate clean. 5 years isn't enough to go ahead and make you forget about all these characters, but we're going to go ahead and bring things up. We're going to move the timeline up, and we're going to age up the themes alongside of it, okay, while expanding the team. They did a very effective job into saying, okay, look, we're going to give you a lot to think about, but it's not going to be so alien where you're going to be completely confused, where all of a sudden this is so brand new that you have nothing new. Because the thing is that majority of the new additions to the team, guess what? These are familiar faces that you've seen before. All right, Garth is Beast Boy. Okay, familiar face we've seen in season 1. Mm-hmm. Bumblebee showing up. She was seen in season 1. One of the students at Happy Harbor High. Mal Duncan. Yeah, he showed up. He's another one of those students. I mean, some of the completely brand new people that we might be dealing with is Tim Drake, Blue Beetle, Wonder Girl. But the thing is that with a lot of those, except for Blue Beetle, you pretty much have, all right, direct connections to, we have other Elder Justice League members that we can sit there, we can connect them to as them being sidekicks for, all right, or them being proteges up, all right. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was going on here, and there were a lot of doors open for possible things, especially after wrapping up the first season so cleanly. So this episode was really effective at doing that. All right. Now, that'll bring us to our second point. Was there anything about the episode that you didn't like, or anything about the episode that you would change, or a detail that you think would be better served changed?
No. No changes here. Because, first of all, it's the first episode of establishing, reestablishing, reinventing, and basically they're on their way to reclaim. That's it. There's nothing I would change about this episode because I don't think there was anything else out of place. Yes, they didn't jump into it immediately as far as what's going on or story or anything like that. They're going to ease us into it, especially because it's a 5-year jump. I wouldn't change anything about this episode in particular. Grey Mouse, what about you?
Well, actually, the very thing that you just finished with, I think they could have done a little better. A 5-year jump, I would have actually liked it pretty much the way season 1 ended. Just jump right into season 2 a month or 2 months later. Of course, a lot of the things that you have questions like 5 years, what's changed, will be answered, throughout the season. But this season's a little shorter than the other one, I believe, or the first one. But yeah, I mean, that would be the only thing. And then one more thing, it's a lot to take in, that first episode. But you mentioned that it's establishing, reestablishing, and to push new storyline, new adventures or whatever, or what have you. But I think it would be difficult for somebody who may have heard about Young Justice from their friends from season 1. Oh man, you got to watch this. You got to watch this. You got to watch this. Sit there and watch it when it comes on TV. It would be kind of hard for them to follow because you kind of have to know what happened in season 1. Because there's a lot of nods to season 1. I mean, you wouldn't, yeah, that would be the only thing that I would change, really, because that goes in. If I go any further, start into more of a rant than anything. But it's just very, very being nitpicky here.
I can't even do that here.
Well, generally speaking, with myself, time skips, time jumps, they tend to be really. You have to treat them delicately, all right? You've got to treat them right, because the thing with is that I wouldn't mind time skips so far in especially a lot of long-standing pieces of fiction, most of the time in anime or manga or anything like that, or even a lot of long-standing animation series and stuff like that. I wouldn't mind time skips if they're handled appropriately, all right? The cool thing about this, though, is that we're already dealing with characters who have like over 80 years of lore. So, and we already know that these are characters who have already lived possible multiple timelines throughout the comic books and everything else. So when it comes to like the characters that we had skipping forward and everything else, all right, it was like, okay, yeah, even though you may not have been pining for it during season 1, you know that eventually Robin Dick Grayson becomes Nightwing, okay? Even though you may not have been pining for it in season 1, you know that eventually he does come about to lead the team, all right? Maybe not the team of Young Justice as it is right here, especially for the comic books, he's one of the long-standing leaders of the Teen Titans. And everything like that. So, yeah, we know that a lot of these characters, they do not stay in the same place that they started at. Because of that, they're able to go ahead and a lot of the transitions between some of the characters who are coming up and who are being introduced newly, and since they're not like completely foreign characters that we have no idea who these people are, except for a few, all right. Even then, they get treated pretty well throughout the season and everything. The cool thing about it is that they handle it nicely. They handle it very gracefully. It's not abrupt where it's like, oh yeah, 5 years later, boom, we're here. All right, deal with it. No, it's like, look, we have familiar faces. Yes, situations are different surrounding certain faces and other things like that. Because of that, it's really, really hard for me to go ahead and find anything that I didn't like about the episode. Okay, the closest thing that I don't like about the episode is that there's actually one character that I learned to hate completely throughout this whole fucking season, all right? And he's the only character that I have not gotten around to even coming close to liking at all throughout the whole season. And that's G. Gordon Godfrey.
I was about to say G. Gordon.
Oh, yeah, I could
G. Gordon Godfrey.
G. Gordon.
I forgot about Alex Jones.
Yeah, yeah, G.
No.
Gordon Godfrey.
No, you see, and I didn't want to mention G. Gordon until all your synopsis and all the opinions was complete.
Forgot about
Because the
Alex.
thing about G. Gordon, basically, he is there to stir the pot.
Yeah, like I
And-
said,
And that's his role.
Yeah,
And I could learn to appreciate that.
no,
Not
like I
to
said,
say- not to say that I like the character, but he has character, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
And wait. Do you remember G. Gordon from Justice League?
from Justice League, he only showed up like once or twice. Okay,
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like he is a total new character.
here's
He
the
was
thing
in
about
Justice League. He had his TV show. I remember an episode of Justice League where the Flash and Green Lantern were talking in a restaurant, and G. Gordon was talking, and the Flash went there, and they had a conversation. So it's not like G. Gordon is totally new.
like I said, I as far as G. Gordon Godfrey as a character, I hate him. I don't like him at all. Okay, but as far as his purpose within the series, I absolutely love the purpose that he serves within the
Mhm.
series. Okay,
Yeah.
and like I said, as far as the episode goes, there isn't anything about the episode that I would change or that I didn't like. Okay, his character I don't like, but guess what? A lot of that has to do with the fact that they got Tim Curry to go ahead and do the voice and voice acting for him. And no, for a moment there, I thought it was Mark Hamill, but it's actually Tim Curry. Went out of his way to do the voice of G. Gordon Godfrey, which fucking masterpiece. All right, he does it with aplomb. All right, okay. But like I said, I know he serves a purpose. All right, I just don't like his character. Okay, that's just how that is.
I mean, that's the personification of Infowars.com. I'm just saying. That's what I feel every time I watch that shit. I feel like that Alex Jones is sitting at a desk telling some aluminum, put the aluminum foil hat on. It's just. But again, that's his character. I love the character, but I hate. Oh my god, man. Yeah.
Yeah, he serves a purpose. All right.
He serves a purpose.
And a lot of that purpose is really, if you think about like a lot of things that get set up, especially going forward into the season, does get set up directly by him. Which brings us to our third point. All right. What did you pick up in this particular episode that works as a setup or a reference point for something that's coming down the pipe?
I love the way they did this subtly. They did it really subtly. When the Chronotans discovered the presence of Blue Beetle, keep that in mind, because you didn't understand what they were saying in their language. But as soon as one of them pointed at Blue Beetle, they all panicked and they ran.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Get
They
out.
were like, get the fuck out of here. So there's something about Blue Beetle. That's just one of the things that they did very subtly. And yeah, but another thing was, as you mentioned, certain people moved on. Now, Zatanna and Rocket, they're a part of the Justice League. They still had a mind conversation with Superboy and Nightwing and Miss Martian. They were like, no, we're happy where we are. So certain people moved on, certain people didn't. And I wonder if Zatanna, got close to Dr. Fate within that time, because Dr. Fate, yeah, her father's still donning that freaking helmet. So, but yeah, but back to what I was saying, Blue Beetle, Chronotans noticing him and boning the fuck out. That's something that's gonna come back. Gray Mouse, what is something that you notice?
Well, the 16 hours, the missing 16 hours, that's going to
Lord.
play a major plot.
That's the thing about it. They only mentioned that once within the episode.
And then I just had it. I just completely forgot. At the beginning, it's subtle, but now that we watch we've seen season 2, we know why. Miss Martian is using a communicator in her ear to communicate to the other team, and there's a reason for that. She's changed over the last 5 years, and we'll figure that out as we move on. Yeah, so those two things are what I want to say as what I noticed that are foreshadowing for the future. But this is only this is only episode 1. So there's stuff in there, but there's more to come.
Well, the one thing that we've got to come to, all right, is by the end of watching episode number 1, we've got to ask the obvious questions. Okay, we know Nightwing is there. We saw Nightwing. We saw Zatanna. We saw Rocket. We saw Superboy. We saw Miss Martian. Okay, so those are 5 of what the 8 original core characters. All right, the original core team from season number 1. All right, so the obvious questions right off the bat is, okay, what's going on with Aqualad, and where the hell is he? What's going on with Artemis and Kid Flash? Where the hell are they? All right, which becomes something just like okay, why the hell is Miss Martian canoodling up with the Goon Boy, and she's no longer running around with Superboy? Those sort of things you got to sit there and ask. It's like, okay, well, what happened here? All right, and this is part of them setting the table that was just so effective, because guess what? Nobody mentions it a goddamn thing about it. All right, but then again, if you think about it, within their world, they lived through it, so they went through the 5 years, they went through the whole process, so they're at the point where everybody is like, well, I may not like the situation, but this is how life is going on right now, and that I'm kind of used to it. All right, so yeah, we have the obvious questions of what's happening with the other core members, and what caused a change with some of the key and central relationships within the team that we had noticed, especially going out throughout season number 1. The other thing that that you guys pointed out was Blue Beetle and the Kroloteans, the Zeta team, the Zeta tube technology stuff. That's going to be a running thing throughout the season also, but they really jump into that a lot deeper. They tie that in a lot deeper with episode number 2, with the team that's on Rand. So I think we pretty much covered everything that we normally cover within the 3 points, right? Was there anything else we wanted to go ahead and throw on the pile before we moved on?
Yeah, I got something.
Sure.
Why, when women have breakups, they always cut their hair? I'm just going to leave that there.
I don't know if that was the whole reason why she cut her hair.
Majority. No, I know. But I'm just saying from.
That was hilarious, Gray Mouse.
No. I'm just using reality and real life here.
Because
that's not even her true form. So fuck that.
Well, yeah. She's a shapeshifter. So
that's gotta watch out for. That's not even her true form, and she's got. So some kind of deep ass shit happened between Superboy and her. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
we'll find out more.
We will find out more. All right. Let's go ahead and wrap it up like we normally do with all of our reviews on a scale of yay, nay, or meh. How would you rate this particular episode?
Damn. When I first saw this episode, I was like, a 5-year jump. Man, fingers to that. But then the episode progressed, and I was like, okay, maybe they're going to backtrack here, and I'm going to be patient about it. So, look, I can't see this as a negative because this was basically a new beginning. It's a yay for me. Gray Mouse, what about you?
Yeah, I give it a yay as well. It's for those of us who watched season 1 and to jump into season 2, you kind of already know a little bit about the core members, like you mentioned earlier, and it was easy to get into. But and the amount of setup that was happening, what happened to those 16 hours that the 6 Justice Leaguers were gone. and and then also the beta too, and the is it Chronos?
The Chronotans.
Chronotans, yeah.
So them also. So it's going to be a wild season. So definitely a yay. Good setup for episode 1.
Yep.
To continue on for season 2.
Yep. Yeah, this one's a yay for me also. Yays all around. Like the theme, when they sat there, they said there was a 5-year skip. All right. When I first saw this, I was like, really? Everybody is doing this time skip bullshit. The fuck, you know? But like I said, they handle it in a way where not only does it get you right into the episode, they don't give you time to sit there and think about it that much, because right when they start throwing people out, oh yeah, by the way, here's this person, this person, this person, this person. Not only are you going, oh yeah, I remember them from before, but also the second thing, when you see other people interact, you're like, what the fuck happened here? All right. And you're hoping that sooner or later they're going to get into this, right? And they're going to explain this, hopefully, for the folks who are watching, especially the folks who invested all the time into season number 1, that full 26 episodes and everything. So yeah, this particular episode for me is a yay. It does a lot. It's not boring at all. It moves at a very, very brisk pace, and it very much, even as fast as it moves, it sets the table up for the rest of the season very, very nicely. All right. And, even though we may not have like a huge inkling of like the grand, scheme of whoever the big bad guys are right now, we do have some very pressing questions as far as like, what the fuck happened with the core members of the team over the last 5 years, which is something that's definitely going to be revisited over the next few episodes. All right.
That's still there. That was an actual member from the beginning is fucking Nightwing.
Yep. But even then, at that moment in time, he changes in a way where it's like, dude, he's fucking Nightwing now. All right. And the thing is that when we get deeper into the season, it's like he is more like Batman than he was Robin in the last season. So there's a lot of that creeps out. All right. But that's us, and that's our thoughts on season number 2, episode number 1 of Young Justice. Happy New Year. What we really want to know, folks, is what are your thoughts on the episode? What are your thoughts on our review? You can tell us by leaving us a comment below. Regardless of whether or not you leave a comment, if you really liked this video or if you didn't, go ahead, hit the like or unlike button accordingly. I won't blame you either way. And if you're really interested in seeing whatever else we put out and you want to follow along with us whenever we put out new content, I do highly suggest turning on those subscriptions and turning on those notifications, and you'll know whenever either one of us individually or all of us as middle-aged guys put out a video on any of our channels. With that, all of our bullshit on season number 2, episode number 1 of Young Justice, entitled Happy New Year, ends right here. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Grey Mouse 1.
All forms of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. Credits.